Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Cobern, and today's episode is the top 5 sleeper running backs for the 2018 NFL Draft Class. And just as the last video with the top 5 best running backs, we're going to be looking at 3 main metrics. The first metric is the total offensive market share production metric. This takes into account rushing yards plus receiving yards divided by the offensive yards, the total offensive yards of the team. And this is a metric that looks at every single back since the 1969 NFL Draft Class. That's basically how big the sample size is. We're also going to be looking at age metrics with regards to how old they are on draft day. When it comes to age, 100% of multiple All-Pro running backs since the 1999 NFL Draft Class were at least 80 or higher when it comes to their age score, and Pro Bowlers were 54 or higher when it comes to their age score. So it's really important when it comes to high quality outcomes, Pro Bowl, All-Pro sort of outcomes, that they at least hit those numbers when it comes to age, that they enter at a fairly young age. I'm still doing more research into why exactly this is with running backs, if it has to do with the fact that it's such a short life type of position and being younger is helpful in that manner. But it's at least something to look at when it comes to just the facts on the paper, when it comes to high quality outcomes. And then the last thing we're going to look at is their speed score, which is taken from the NFL Draft Scout website in terms of the 40-yard dash. We're going to look at the 40-yard dash that was reported from NFL Draft Scout. Now again, this is a preliminary number. This is not the end-all be-all number. So they could go to the combine and they could blow this number out of the water. They could go to the combine and they could run slower than that number. We just won't really know until the combine comes in terms of that number. On top of the fact that these guys also could do really well in terms of other athletic testing. They could be really good in terms of the short shuttle 3 count. They could be really good in terms of the vertical and the broad jump. But since we have the speed scores available right now, or at least the preliminary speed scores available, we're going to test them against that speed score to see what the result is. And with all these metrics combined, we're going to come to the 5 backs on this list. Now, the top 3 backs, just to throw this out there, are guys who performed well in age, performed well in speed, but didn't do so well in terms of offensive market share production. But this is why they're sleepers on this list. They're sleepers because they're players that we expect, or that we should expect, to have a big year. And if they do have a big year, they'll rise tremendously on people's boards and in people's minds when it comes to them. So that's basically how this list came about, looking at those 3 metrics and then coming to a conclusion based on the facts. Again, some of these guys in the list in the top 5 may not break out, and that'll make them look kind of bad on this list. But at the very least, that, again, it's a sleeper list. That's what these lists are usually about, is guys who don't really hit everything out of the mark but could potentially improve on that number. And that's really the big point of this list, is guys who can improve on their numbers. And particularly when it comes to production, that is something that each one of these guys can improve upon in 2018. At number 5, we have Hicks, running back out of TCU. When it comes to the factuals, at least on NFL Draft Scout, he's 5'10", 210 pounds, ran a 4.57 40, and his age is also fairly decent. When it comes to his production, he scored 66.47 out of 100, which hits the 3-time Pro Bowl level mark. It's almost at 5-time Pro Bowl level, but it's just kind of teetering there. When it comes to his age score, he scored 69.94 out of 100. So he hits the Pro Bowl level when it comes to his age score. And when it comes to his speed score, unfortunately, he only hits 49.64 out of 100. He passes the mark that he needs to pass in terms of potential Pro Bowl or All-Pro marks when it comes to speed, but he doesn't quite have a 79 or higher athleticism score yet. So this is one area where if he has a really good vertical and a broad jump, or he has a really good short shoulder 3 cone, that will bump him up, athletically speaking, to hit those thresholds, on top of producing next year in TCU's offense. And the bottom line is, when it comes to Hicks, just as a general guy to see, I agree with this tremendously from a numbers perspective and from a film perspective, that he should be considered a back that might break out tremendously this year. He's kind of a dual threat running back, can work out of the backfield, can run up the middle, can do a bunch of different things in TCU's offense. And I'll be very excited to see what he does this year to improve upon these numbers potentially and become a back that could rise tremendously this year. At number 4, we have Ito Smith, running back out of Southern Miss. When it comes to the factuals from NFLDraftScout.com, he's 5'9", 195 pounds, ran a 4.5 40, and when it comes to his production, he scored 73.36 in terms of his total offensive market share production. Already hit the 5-time Pro Bowl mark. When it comes to his age score, unfortunately, he only scores 56.98 out of 100, and his speed score is only 44.75 out of 100. So he's going to need very good vertical or broad jump or a really good short shoulder 3-cone in order to hit high-quality outcomes. But lots of positives when it comes to his production. He hits the Pro Bowl threshold at the very least in terms of age, and this is a guy that could be talked about a little bit more as the year starts and when things start rolling. He is at Southern Miss. He is someone that probably won't get much exposure or talk until like the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Game and stuff like that. But he is someone that I would highly recommend you watch based on his production and based on his other sort of factors, because he has a lot of good things in his profile on paper, and it'd be a good idea for you guys to check him out in the future. And that's why I'm excited to see him and see what happens in 2017. At number 3, we have Rashaad Penny, running back out of San Diego State. When it comes to the factuals about height and weight, according to NFLDraftScout.com, he's 5'10", 220 pounds, and has a 4.57 40. When it comes to his production, unfortunately, he only scored 42.61 out of 100. But here's a good thing. Donald Pumphrey is no longer there. And Donald Pumphrey was the main back at San Diego State. Now he's gone, and I think this is a really good opportunity for Rashaad Penny to become the lead back on a team that usually gives their backs a ton of carries anyways. Like the lead backs in San Diego State's offense easily get 300 touches every single year, and I think that's the case with Rashaad Penny. And if he does hit that type of production, when it comes to his age, he scored 73.81 in terms of his age score, which hits the Pro Bowl level. And when it comes to his speed score, he scored 70.24 out of 100 when it comes to his speed score. That mark is very good. It's not exactly elite. It's not 79 or higher, but it's a very good speed score for the type of back that he is. And I think that there's lots of positives with Rashaad Penny. If he produces in San Diego State's offense, which I think he will, now that Donald Pumphrey is gone, this could be a guy that you could see rise up boards because he has the size that people are looking for when it comes to scouts, and he has a decent age score and a decent speed score to indicate someone that could potentially break out into bigger and better things in 2017. At number 2, we have Ronald Jones, running back out of USC. When it comes to his height and weight, according to NFLDraftScout.com, he's 6 foot, 195 pounds, ran a 4.49 40. And when it comes to his production, this is the main issue, and this is why he's a sleeper, is that his production score was 42.18 out of 100. Doesn't really hit high quality outcomes, but he's going to be the main back now. Justin Davis is no longer there. He's a fairly young guy, so he might be just kind of growing into that role, if you will. So if he comes in this year and produces like I think he can produce, because of his age score as well, I think there's lots of potential for him to become even better in 2017 based on his age score, to where his production will increase tremendously. And when it comes to his speed score, it's not that great. Only scored 31.68 out of 100 in terms of his speed score. Again, he could be very good in terms of short shoulder 3-cone. He could have very good vertical in the broad jump. We just don't know the extra stuff when it comes to athleticism with him. But when it comes to his age and when it comes to the production he's already shown in a limited amount of time in that backfield, the sky's the limit in terms of Ronald Jones. He could come in this year, have a big year, and people will be talking about him a lot more based on his potential in the future. And number 1 is Kalen Ballage, running back out of Arizona State. When it comes to height and weight, he's 6'1", 227 pounds with a 4.56 40, and this is from NFLDraftScout.com, which is incredible. I mean, that's an NFL back. If you were to say, hey, how big is an NFL back, they would say 6'1", 227 or 5'11", 227. Like, that is NFL size running back. But the reason he's a sleeper on this list is because of production. Only scored 43.87 out of 100 when it comes to his total offensive market share production. A lot of this is because he's been splitting carries and doing that sort of thing in Arizona State. with the other back that's there, and he's still there. But he's impressive in terms of size, impressive in terms of the other attributes of the position. Speed score 68.78 out of 100. And in terms of just his overall profile, he's a big-time sleeper because he has so much potential. The size, the weight, the speed for his size. If he becomes a bigger part of that offense, if he can just kind of win that job and become a bigger portion of that offense in the future based on the talent that he's shown on film and the talent that he's shown on paper, the sky's the limit in terms of Kalen Ballage. Lots of potential in terms of this guy, and he's essentially has all the traits you're looking for at the position with the exception of that production. But if he can bump that up just a little bit, if he can just get that production up higher and has a big year, then I think there's a lot of positives that are going to go forward with Kalen Ballage. But we'll have to see, of course. This is why this is a sleeper list. But he's number one just because, again, that size, that speed, and that potential is there for him to become one of the top backs in 2018 if he actually produces this year. So this concludes the top 5 sleepers at running back for the 2018 NFL Draft Class. My name is James Cobern. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content, if you want more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Share this video with people. That helps me out tremendously as well. If you just share this with people, get my name out there as much as possible. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.